Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing another edition in my series where I'm going through 5 underrated CDs from my collection. As I was trying to pick which albums to do today, which ones to talk about, I thought, hey, why don't I do an all-Canadian edition of this? And as I started picking CDs, I realized, why don't I make it even more specific and just focus on the province of Quebec? So you're getting an all-Quebecois version today of 5 underrated discs from my collection, where all the bands are from the province of Quebec up here in Canada. I do not speak French, but there's such a good French-Canadian scene in the province of Quebec. A lot of it being black metal. That's mostly what these albums are going to be today. Of course, there's a great death metal scene in Quebec as well. A lot of those bands I wouldn't necessarily consider underrated if you're going to talk about like Cryptopsy or Gorguts. So I'm not going to feature those CDs today. I'm going to try to focus on some lesser known bands and bands that I want to talk about to maybe expose you to if you've never heard them before. So yeah, usually with these videos I like to switch up the genres and have a little bit of everything in here. Today, this is mostly black metal. There is one death metal release in here. But anyways, without further ado, let's just get into this. 5 underrated CDs and bands, albums from the province of Quebec. So, I am going to start it off with Spectral Wound and their album Infernal, Decadence. So, yeah, Spectra Wound maybe is not underrated as a whole anymore. They got a lot of notoriety with their last album, A Diabolic Thirst, but this album is the album right before that, and honestly, this one is just as good, if not better. Like, maybe A Diabolic Thirst is a little bit catchier and will stick out in your head, but I had heard this one before that album, and this is absolutely amazing stuff. Just raw, in-your-face black metal. Honestly, if you dug A Diabolic Thirst, you gotta go check out their back catalog as well, even the album before this as well, which I don't have their debut actually. I just have this one and A Diabolic Thirst, but this one is definitely more on the underrated side. Don't really hear too many people talking about it, and it's absolutely amazing. You got songs like Woods from Which the Spirits Once So Loudly Howled. Try to say that 10 times fast. Kicks off the album. Absolutely amazing fashion. Black satanic glamour, just really satanic raw black metal. Awesome, awesome stuff. Go check them out if you haven't, and specifically go check out this album. All right, up next, another band that I feel is severely underrated, and that is Gris, or Gris. I'm not sure on the pronunciation since I don't speak French. I believe that means gray. The album I'm talking about today is A l'âme enflammée, A l'âme constellée. This is a double album. This is their most recent album, even though it's from quite some time ago. But yeah, really awesome stuff. There's the back there. You got 5 songs on each disc. Really awesome cover art there as well. This is very melancholic, sorrowful black metal, but it features a lot of different changes of pace. There's tons of acoustics here. There's strings, and it really gives it its own unique flavor. Like, there's gonna be comparisons to a band like Agalloch, and even just some other French-Canadian bands in the same area like Monarch and some other bands that I'm going to talk about shortly. But they really do their own thing here. It almost gives it a cinematic feel with the way that they incorporate these string instruments into their sound with all the acoustics as well. Just really beautiful stuff. Like, there's moments that don't sound like black metal at all, and then other moments where it's just crushing and the vocals are really tortured. Like, honestly, this was one of my favorite albums from the year it came out. I listened to the shit out of it. You gotta go listen to this if you haven't. They only have 3 full lengths. They do also have a split that is amazing. It's kind of like a side project collaboration, which maybe I'll save for another video. I'm not talking about it today, so I won't go into too much detail. But yeah, go check out this album. Check out all 3 of their albums. But yeah, go check out this one specifically. This is probably my favorite by them, so in that sense, it's not underrated. But I feel like not too many people talk about this band, and they should, because this album kicks ass. All right, let's switch up gears halfway through here to talk about something that's not black metal. So like I said earlier, there's a lot of big name death metal bands from Quebec, but I'm going to talk about one that's one of my personal favorites that didn't ever really get the notoriety of some of their counterparts, and that is Quo Vatis. The album I have here is Day Into Night, which is my favorite album by them. This was their sophomore album. Their debut was a little rougher around the edges, and then this one came out, and wow, The musicality on display here is absolutely amazing. Like, these guys know how to play their instruments. The guitar work is absolutely beautiful. The solos rip, and the drumming, one of the best drum performances I have ever heard. For a comparison here, I would say think like Heartwork era Carcass meets Symbolic era Death. So it's kind of got that progressive death metal side to it, but then also mixed with melodic technical death metal. And it just really works. Like, the music on display here is absolutely amazing. The vocals sound a lot like Jeff Walker from Carcass, but the music, this is just a whole other level. I cannot emphasize how amazing this album is. You got songs like On the Shores of Ithaca, Hunter Killer. You've got instrumental like Dream. This whole album just kills. Absolution, Dysgenics. Every single song here hits the mark. There's moments of pure beauty in the guitar playing, and then there's moments of pounding death metal aggression. Crazy drumming, like I said. Crazy guitar work. Honestly, go listen to this. It's melodic. It's technical. It's amazing. Quo Vatis, Day Into Night. They did also release a third album, which was pretty solid as well. I don't think it quite stacks up to this, but nonetheless, check out that one as well. But go listen to Day Into Night by Quo Vatis. It will knock your socks off. All right, up next, considering it underrated because I still feel like this band doesn't get as much respect as they should. Maybe this is the most, like, the least underrated band on this list today out of these 5. But one of the best black metal bands from Quebec easily, and that is Forteresse. Here I've got their second album, Les Hivers de notre epoque. This is my favorite album by them. I got the Digipack re-release here. Just amazing atmospheric black metal. You are going to get sucked into the atmosphere. It's very repetitive with the riffs. It's almost got like an acid wash feel to it. Like, you're just sucked into the icy coldness of these riffs. It's very unique sounding, but wow, is it well executed. This is so good. The vocals are so vicious and raspy. And these riffs, like, they're not technical riffs. They're very simple and they're very repetitive. But that's the point of this, is just to get lost in these atmospheres. And honestly, I don't know too many bands that do it better than this. Every single album they've put out is a masterpiece in my opinion. They've only got 5. I hope they release another full length soon. But yeah, every moment on here is amazing. Ancien Voix, Ténèbres, Les Corbeaux. Honestly, this whole goddamn album, go check it out if you haven't. Check out everything they've done. Like I said, maybe arguably Forteresse isn't underrated, but I don't hear enough people talking about them, and there should be even more. Easily one of my favorite Canadian bands and one of my favorite Canadian albums. All right, one more to talk about. Speaking of my favorite black metal bands from Canada, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Sorcerer De Glass. Here I've got the second album, Moonrise in Total Darkness. Absolutely amazing stuff here. Back in this stage, they still had some keyboards in their sound to make, like, add to the ice cold black metal that they play. These days, there's no more keyboards in their sound, but they still play absolutely amazing atmospheric black metal. It's hard to even pick a favorite. I went with this one, but every single album this band has released is amazing as well, from their early days to the present day. Like, they have been around since the mid-90s, and that's quite some time for a Canadian black metal band. I don't know too many others that have been started in the mid-90s that are still going strong to this day. And yeah, wow. Ice cold black metal, amazing stuff. You've got great song titles like Misanthropy Within the Endless Mountains, Behold the Halls of Ice, La Hula Plaine Lune Claire, Les Ombres de Rayon de Glace. Doing my best French pronunciation here, but wow, absolutely stellar album. Cannot emphasize how good this band is. If you have not heard Sorcier De Glass or SDG before, do yourself a favor and go check it out. So anyways, this was my special edition of this series, talking all about bands from Quebec. Obviously, there's even more than just these 5. These are just the 5 that I grabbed, but let me know your thoughts on these 5 albums down below. You can look forward to another edition in this series next month. Not another edition in all Quebec bands, but just underrated bands, albums from my collection in general. So, until next time, Hammer Heart Metal Reviews, out.